myself and my wife could be in bed, and my wife is sending me messages, and we are both in the same bed. And sometimes I just turn and look at her, and I'm like, what's wrong with this woman? I'm here now, just tell me what you want to tell me. Technology have now made it easy that, okay, you're in the UK, I'm in Nigeria, we can start something. Sometimes, when they eventually meet, it is not always what I requested or what I ordered versus what I got. Some people have very fast fingers behind the screen. Until you meet them physically, they cannot hold a conversation. Their self-esteem in public spaces is very low. But when they are behind their system, behind their keypads, they are very fast. And maybe it is how they interact digitally. For me, I feel that technology, if I personalize it, has played a huge role. However, there's also the downside.
Okay.
Because of technology, some people now communicate less. Imagine me and my wife in the same bed, and we still chat. How much more if we were not in the same bedroom and now we are trying to quarrel? You see that we'll be quarreling on our phones.
Would it not have made it a lot sweeter? Because neighbors won't hear your voice. Good day all. Welcome to VitalSpace podcast. I'm your host, Augustine Burutolu. And with this set of podcasts, what we hope to do is to drive conversations on relationship, family life, all in the bid to see that we foster a healthy society, we foster good well-being. Because at the end of the day, all of our lives revolves around relationships. And it's important that we have the kind of conversation that will produce the kind of relationships we want so that we can have the kind of results we want all around our life in every facet of life. So that's why we're having this conversation, VitalSpace and VitalSpace podcast. And here with me today to talk on a very beautiful topic, how technology imparts relationship. How technology imparts relationship. That's what we want to talk about today. And I have a friend, I have a brother here who would help do justice to that. So if you want to do that, if you want to do drum roll, if you want to put your clap, let's just put our hands together as a welcome Harry Poveni.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so it looks like I was looking at a picture some days back and saw, and two of them that was captured was me leaning towards you, we talking. So as I was saying, they just drawn on me like, it seems that we're always talking. We're always at the point always at that point where we're always talking. Welcome to the thanks for being here. We live in that age, we live in that future where tech is a go-to. Where tech is a go-to, where our lives cannot be divorced from the use of tech. We're in that age, and going, like I said, we're in that age, but we're also in that future because it's impossible to now go forward without tech. So tech plays a huge role in a lot of how our lives move going forward. And a vital part of our life is relationship. And so if tech plays a role in all of the things we do, we definitely would have seen how it plays also in our lives going forward. And that's why we're having this. So the first question I want to ask is, how has tech impacted the dynamics of friendships and relationships? Let's start from there.
It's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
So it's either surplus good or a little bit of too much negativity. But technology has, in my opinion, made relationships much better. There are some things that some of us find difficult to express. But because with technology now, we can just type these things. There are some things we do not need to wait to share because we now need to meet somewhere. But we don't need to wait because technology now bridges that divide. So even when you're far away, it seems like you're close by. Technology has become, in some relationships, that has even become the main medium of communication. Yes, it has. I mean, for me, it's not the main medium, but it's considered like an inside joke.
Okay.
Myself and my wife could be in bed, and my wife is sending me messages, and we are both in the same bed. And sometimes I just turn and look at her, and I'm like, what's wrong with this woman? I'm here, and I just tell me what you want to tell me. You know, she's on Instagram, she's doing something, and she sees something that is funny or something that she likes. She just shares it with me. She doesn't talk, she just shares it. And then sometimes she's seen a movie, and they say something in the movie that is interesting to her. She pauses the movie. She goes on Google or YouTube to go and check, or maybe Instagram to check. And if she sees anything remotely related to what she saw in the movie, she sends it to me. It is after she has sent it that she would ask me, did you see what I sent? I said, no, I'm not on Instagram, because that's more like her favorite app.
Okay.
I'm not on Instagram. And then she says, go and check what I sent. But just tell me now. Say, no, go and check it first. So I go to check, and then the conversation starts.
Okay.
Sometimes I may have slept late, and she's a very early riser. She's up, she's gone to work. But because there is technology, she could get to work, settle in, say around 8, 9, and then checks on me. Are you up? Are you out of the house? Have you had breakfast? What are you going to do? What's your day going to be like? I didn't want to wake you, so this is what the rest of my own day will be like. I forgot to tell you about this. We need to do this. We need to do that. So she sends me a plan. Now I have a plan. And then we can now begin to, work around it. So for me, I feel that technology, if I personalize it, has played a huge role. However, there's also the downside.
Okay.
Because of technology, some people now communicate less. Some people communicate less. And in cases where people are upset, they really do not have a conversation. Growing up, I really would not say I have a reason why I arrived at that opinion, but I've always said that I don't find it interesting why spouses would have different bedrooms.
Oh, okay.
It's something I struggle with. He doesn't, for one term of not sounding disrespectful, I wouldn't want to say it doesn't make sense, because everything makes sense to whoever that is involved in it.
Whoever is involved.
But for me, I feel that if you have one bedroom, it doesn't matter how your day went. Eventually, you will settle in the same bedroom. And even if you're the man that, we have long suffering, you are the man with long quarreling ability. At some point, your bodies will collide in that bed. At some point, you have a need to talk to each other. So it doesn't matter how upset you are, you may not sleep over it for too long. But when you have your own bedroom, the wife or the man has his own bedroom, that quarrel can linger for longer than necessary.
If they have different bedrooms, and there's technology, they have phones.
They just press their phones.
No, they can be quarreling on the phone now. The phone can.
Imagine,
if they've not talked to each other,
imagine me and my wife in the same bed. Imagine me and my wife in the same bed, and we still chat. How much more if we were not in the same bedroom and now we are trying to quarrel? You see that we'll be quarreling on our phones.
Would it not have made it a lot sweeter? Because neighbors won't hear your voice.
Now, there's also this thing about communicating with technology.
Yeah.
Some people are imaginative.
Yeah.
Others are not.
That's true.
So if I type, get out. Now, for easy understanding, some people now have to put an emoji. So you know that I am joking or I am laughing or something. But if you just say, get out, and there is no emoji, this other person just takes it up front to say, okay, you're telling me get out. You don't have respect. So if you're not someone who is imaginative and for some reason maybe you do not put yourself in the other person's shoes, you don't try to bring the playful nature of the person you know into your digital space, you will try to take everything on face value. So even when you quarrel on the phone, it may even get worse because you're reading like you're reading a textbook.
And the gap that you are trying to bridge becomes longer.
Becomes longer, yes, I agree.
And so instead of technology helping to bridge the gap at that point, it now makes the divide
wider. So I think that technology should not be a primary medium for communication. It can take the role of a primary medium when you're apart, when you're busy in other places. But if you are not far away, you're in the same space, technology should not be a primary or a first call for communication. For example, I'm not a very good caller. A very good is me making it mild. I'm not a calling person.
Okay.
I can chat with you every day of the year, but I may not talk long on the phone. I talk very fast. And so when I'm on the phone, I just hit the point and then I have nothing else to say. I'm not much of a phone call person, but I can chat with you all day. And I'll be very, very entertaining. But when you and I are talking, most of the time I do, okay, really? So what did you do? Wow. Okay, I'm done. I have nothing else to say.
And if you meet someone that likes the long
yeah,
so it doesn't look like you're not interested in the conversation.
Yeah, so sometimes my wife wants to be chatty and she says, I want to tell you what happened today. I say, okay. And then I have noticed that for her, you are interested in the conversation means you have to be looking at her. And since I picked that in our early days, when she says, I want to tell you something that happened today, I drop my phone. I stop doing whatever I'm doing on the laptop, and then I pay attention. Sometimes it's not so as interesting as she makes it look, but I pay attention. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, wow, all right. Sometimes when she's done in my head, I'm saying, is this the thing that you stopped me for? But you can't say that. So no, you can't say that. And so you just play along and say, okay, all right. And then that goes. But some people have succeeded in replacing these conversations with technology. And most of the time, it doesn't work well.
Yeah.
And even when the technology is not there, they don't have what to say.
Yeah.
Now, my wife is the calling person. I am the chatting person. So sometimes I send my wife a message. She reads the message, but she doesn't reply. She just calls me on the phone and says, I'm tired of typing. Let me just tell you what you're asking. And she tells it to me. I don't have a problem with that. She initiates most of the calls. So most times if my wife missed my call, she's triggered, like something has happened. And sometimes when she sees my call and she picks it, you could tell on the other end that she's anticipating something. Are you okay? Is anything the problem? Because I am not the guy that calls regularly. I chat most of the time, But once there is that understanding and balance, it helps the relationship. Because I chat more does not mean I wouldn't make efforts to call. And because she likes to talk doesn't mean she wouldn't make efforts to chat. And because we know this balance, most of the time when she calls me, the first thing she says is, are you okay to talk? Given the nature of my job, I could be doing multiple things at the same time. So, are you okay to talk? I say yes. Okay. And then she says what she wants to say. If I say no, but you can chat me up, she switches to the chat. So, I'm chatting, I'm working, and, it balances for us. So, but again, this is on a relationship to relationship basis.
Yeah.
It's not one cap fits all for everybody. Okay. Some people make a fuss about it.
Yeah.
You have not called me, And for me, that is not an issue. It doesn't come up as a problem. I could leave messages, I could leave a poem, I could leave a song. She's okay with it. She could leave me a message, she could call me. I'm okay with it. We don't stretch those kind of things.
So the thing is for people to be able to build understanding.
Yes.
Understanding your partner, understanding the person you're with.
Yes.
And help to create that balance. Because I think that when we understand each other and understand how we flow and what works best for the other person, it makes it a lot easier. I think most times the challenge is wanting the other person to be like me. So if I chat, if I'm the chatty and always on the device, I want the other person to always. So when I send a message, I want the other person to receive it and respond the other time. If I'm the calling person, or even with the early rising, so I sleep, I wake up, but this other person. So I think those understanding, first of all, being willing, because understanding comes from the willingness.
Willingness to adjust.
Because understanding will not just pop up. It's an effort to, first of all, get to know the other person.
I agree.
And get to be in the shoes of the other person and trying to see the world from the other person's view. So I think, and for me, that's where the problem most times do not come, that understanding. And that's where the challenge for most persons in their relationships, I think that's where the thing come from.
I also think that there is a basic fundamental that we all need to understand every day and how we deal with people. Even people from the same background do not entirely understand themselves.
Yeah.
Twins also quarrel. And so if you approach life, relationships with that perspective, knowing that this person is coming from a whole different background, maybe a whole different culture, different from what I know and what I have, it is easy for you to be malleable, flexible enough to adopt some things from the other person and also be open to share what makes you comfortable. Now, some of us also go into relationships with a certain level of low self-esteem. We are already pleasers from wherever we are coming from. And so we go into the relationship making it all about us pleasing the other person, without creating a balance for the other person to understand us. So the other person spent the whole of his time in that relationship just getting pleased, getting all the attention. And if you meet someone who is also selfish, he doesn't make an effort to make you, get some shine.
Yeah.
And then he goes off that relationship and comfortable with that thing you were doing to him and goes to expect it from another person who says, no, that's not how it works over here. Here it has to be balanced. And then this other person that was pleasing you goes into another relationship and meets someone who goes out of his way to please the other person. And then they are what's the right word now? They're overwhelmed with the attention. They're not used to being made special. And so they're overwhelmed. I mean, I've heard people say somebody broke up with someone because the person was too nice.
Yeah, there are a lot of it. I've seen where some persons, even with like you're talking, so you've been in a situation where you're just being talked down on, just generally run down, and you've come to accept it like that's the norm. So when you now meet people that value you, people that give attention to what you have to offer, like they hear you out, they want to listen and say, oh, okay. And they take your view, it looks like
something is wrong.
Something is wrong.
He's playing me or something. Yeah. He has an agenda.
Or she, what is it? What is it that
what are you trying to achieve?
What is he trying to achieve?
What's your plan?
So I think that there's a lot of unlearning. There's a lot of relearning we need to. But the thing for me is the willingness.
Yes, that's where
the willingness to want to try and live this. This is how I am.
Nobody's exactly anyhow they say they are. yeah, that's how I say it. We are molded into whatever we say we are, and it took processes.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes we also need to look at what is it that love means to you.
Yeah.
What is it that relationship means to you? This morning I made a post and I was talking about people defining their success. So you also need to, depending on where you're coming from, you also need to set certain definitions for yourself. Based on the definitions you have set, you have an idea of the kind of people you want to let into your space. And when they come into your space, they understand what is obtainable in your space. Yeah. They understand what the standard is for your space. If there are people you need to bring up to your level, then it should be because you want to do that.
Yeah.
I tell people that when a 16-year-old girl gets involved with a 26-year-old man, two things will happen. The 16-year-old girl will behave like a 26-year-old, or the 26-year-old man will start behaving like a 16-year-old. Either way, something must give. And so if you're in a relationship where values are not constantly exchanged, something is wrong. And so going into a relationship or any form of partnership, the first thing is the willingness to understand the other person, the willingness to be open to new ideas. You hear, in our family, we don't do this. In our family, we don't do that. So the other person coming in their family, they do everything. They accept everything. Prior to this time, I don't eat okra soup. I'm not a fan. Never liked it. Not just me. Even my younger brother never liked it. But now I'm involved with someone who breathes and lives okra soup. So what did we do? We found a creative way to make me like it. Do I eat it now? Yes. Do I eat it outside? Rarely. Do I eat it at home? Yes. Because there is a way it is prepared. I like my okra chopped, not grated. I don't like it slimy. And so once it is prepared that way, I'm good. And now because we have a way to go around it, I now eat it.
Yeah.
But prior to this time, I ordinarily would not walk into any place and say that's something I feel like eating, And then there are things I used to love eating that I suddenly do not really have the appetite for. And then you'll be wondering, what's happening to this guy? I'm also evolving.
Yeah.
So there is no one permanent character we have. Every time you build a relationship, however temporary, with somebody, you give a part of yourself to that relationship. You take on a new part, and then you move on. That part you took on becomes a part of you going into another relationship.
Yeah.
And so you keep evolving until you get to a level of stability where you have accumulated several things that have now formed a new you, a perception, which is why when somebody's heartbroken from a relationship, a lot of them tend to carry the baggage
to the next one,
to the new one, and then they're looking for the cracks from the previous relationship in the new one. Even when it is not there, they are anticipating it.
And so when something remotely resembles the beginning that led to the crack in the other one.
I knew you were going to break my heart. I said
it. So and since we are talking about technology, so it's the fact that, this person is always, so you just look at it, so it's from here. So now, the other part of relationship is that romantic type. I know of people that have said that they found their partners on social media. Mm-hmm. Before I go to know what's your take on that, before I take it up from there.
Well, people finding people, so like I said, technology have succeeded in making the world a global village. And so everybody is there. I was chatting with a friend in the UK the day before yesterday. And I said to her, look, if you are not finding your ideal kind of partner within your space, in my opinion, you need to undo certain things. You need to change your schedule. You need to change your crowd. You need to change your perspective. You need to adjust several things. If it means intentionally taking holidays to other parts of the UK, do that. If it means you have to change the people you interact with every day, do that. Because where you are, the perception you ooze is not the one the people in that space want to embrace. So you need to move to a space where people appreciate what you're bringing. You have. I know you. I understand you. So if I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you from
that knowledge.
The knowledge that I know you, and I am receptive to your kind of person. But maybe you have been encountering people who are either intimidated or put off by your personality.
Yeah.
So technology now bridges that gap of having to do a lot of talking to swiftly coming together.
Yeah.
For some people, it works. For some people, it does not. But technology have now made it easy that, okay, you're in the UK, I'm in Nigeria, we can start something. Sometimes, when they eventually meet, it is not always what I requested or what I ordered versus what I got. You know, some people have very fast fingers behind the screen. Until you meet them physically, they cannot hold a conversation.
Yeah.
They can't talk very clearly. You know, their self-esteem in public spaces is very low. But when they are behind their system, behind their keypads, they are very fast. They make very good sense. They type good comments. You know, they do all of that. And maybe it is how they interact digitally that got you attracted to them. They sounded smart. And so, because maybe you're Homo sapien, what's the word for people who love people for being smart? There is a term for it.
Sapiosexual.
Sapiosexual. So because you are that kind of person, you naturally get attracted to such people because they more or less reflect brilliance, intelligence, smart. But when you meet them physically, they can't engage. They can't even maintain eye contact. They are not very conversational. They are, in fact, all the while both of you sat wherever you were trying to have dinner or lunch, they were on their phone, pressing their phone. I've seen a case where two people sat to have lunch and this other one is chatting this other one. And the guy is like, come, I brought you out so we can have a communication. Sorry, conversation. You can't still be chatting me while we are both here.
So that was the other part I wanted to do, because that thing of the online persona, who you are online and who you are offline.
For some people, it's the same. For some people, it's a bit of two different things.
And that's for some persons, I think that may pose some kind of challenge where some people are like, she was a scam or he was a scam kind of thing, because, like you said, they are fast on some persons. They are brilliance when they are behind a keypad. There are some persons that when they write, I used to be that way before. If I want to really say how I feel about a subject, allow me write it. Allow me write it. So most times I see what from back then, I see what I write. I'm like, so just allow me write. I can be that expressive, and even words that have not now most time have become like regular words, but back then they were not like regular words. But you're writing, you just don't know where the words, the expressions, certain words are like, oh, this was part of my vocabulary. I think you could write them out, but coming out when you would have to hold conversations, most times I had to learn. I have to learn to marry both. So I think for most persons I'll go back to that word, the willingness to work on themselves, the willingness to see that you meet the same person offline, the same value.
That has to be deliberate.
Yeah, that has to be deliberate. That is the same value.
Some people come off as very sarcastic, very saucy on social media, and then you meet them in person, and you will not hear anyone rude, harsh word throughout their conversation. And they will tell you, I do that for traffic. I do that for traffic. I come off as a very strict, business-only person, digitally. And so when people see me in person and hear me laugh, I've had a few people tell me, I don't know you laugh. I don't even know that you can play. Because the impression you give on the internet is that if it's not business, you're not open to another conversation. And I usually say, but do you understand that the internet is a marketplace?
Yeah.
I go there to sell. I'm not going there to play. I have friends I can play with at home. And I have friends I can play with off the internet. So there is that persona you want to put. But if you're building a brand, whether digitally or off the internet, you have to be intentional about the perception you want to give to people. And that perception shouldn't be far off from who you really are. Because if people become attracted to your personality, and then I dare say fall in love with your personality, and then 3 months, 6 months down the line, the other parts of you, like a shoe that was polished and then it's, is wearing out, it begins to show. Then we get the normal phrases like, I didn't know he was like this. I didn't know she was like that. She deceived me or he deceived me. Again, there is also the thing of patience.
Okay.
Patience. Now, technology also makes us want to fast track everything. Let's pretend we want to go back to the letter writing and post office days. And I have someone I'm trying to build a relationship with in Lagos. First, it will take 2 weeks for my letter to get to Lagos.
No, you've not even talked about the writing it first.
Okay, so first I would write and maybe condemn several sheets of paper before I eventually arrive at what I think is postable.
Yeah.
And then maybe I don't even have money, so I have to save money to buy stamp. And then I go to the post office, post my letter.
Yeah.
My letter takes 1 or 2 weeks to arrive Lagos. This is if they don't lost my letter on the way. And then I have no way to know if really you got the letter or not. So I'm hoping that you got it by way of expecting a response.
Yeah.
And maybe you also don't have money, so you have to wait to save up to buy stamp. And then you post back. So sometimes it could take 2 years. Or maybe a little below 2 years. For us to come to the point where we think that, okay, we now understand ourselves enough to want to meet. Which means I have to plan to travel to Lagos, or you have to plan to travel to my location. But with technology now, everything has been fast-paced. Let me see what you look like. You have sent several pictures. Where do you work? You have sent yourself a picture of yourself behind your desk. Everything is fast-paced. So sometimes in all of this speed and excitement, we lose the place of actually settling down to learn about each other. Understand what we like, what we do not like.
Yeah.
I tell people, rule of thumb for me, any relationship, what people like is easy to know. So I spend my first objective, getting to know someone, is to learn the things you don't like. Because as a person, sorry is sacred for me. If I say sorry, it takes a lot of blood out of me to say sorry. So I want to mean it, and I want to be sure that for that thing I said sorry, I don't repeat it. And so I take a lot of time learning the things you don't like, so I do not do them. And if I have to mistakenly do them, it should be because I did not know that you don't like them. And when I say sorry, you would also know that I mean it, because it is not something I want to say every day. It's not something I also like to hear every day. When you make it commonplace, it loses the value. And so sorry shouldn't be good morning. Sorry should be something that comes at an appropriate time and should be worth it. No, but now we don't have a lot of people who want to be patient to learn each other. People just assume that we'll get to know ourselves as we go. And so in trying to know themselves as they go, maybe one person arrived sooner than the other person, and he or she proposed. I have arrived at the point where I think, okay, you're good for me, so I propose.
But this other person is not ready.
You are not ready. You're not where I am. But you don't also want to turn me down, so you say yes. Yeah. Then we jump into a relationship phase we are not ready for. And then we keep going. We keep going. And at some point, we realize that we are not compatible, not for that long term that we envisaged. And so relationship breaks down.
With the... And none of this relationship that breaks down leave you the same way.
No, you can't be the same way. You're cracked already.
Yeah.
And if you're not a strong-willed person, you move with that crack to another relationship without properly healing from this other one. Without first putting your cards on the table and ask yourself, so what exactly broke down this relationship? And what should I do differently, either about myself or about the people I want to meet? What should I be upfront with? What are the things I should avoid? Sometimes we don't take that time to refine ourselves. We just move on. A very common thing is when a guy or a lady says, I love you, the typical expectation is for you to say, I love you too. And when you say it back. Hey, thank you. Why will you tell me thank you? You should say you love me too. And I have been in positions where I had to be the antagonist. And I said something like this: look, love is like salvation. Everybody will find it for themselves. We are both trying to discover ourselves in a journey. We would not do it at the same pace. We will not do it the same way. If you say you love me, it is an expression of how you feel and how much you now know and appreciate about me. The first thing I should say, in my opinion, is thank you for loving me. It is a privilege. It's not a right.
Yeah.
So I am saying
Thank you for loving me.
For loving me. If I have arrived where you have arrived, or if I think that I have enough of what I should have, and you say I love you, and I say I love you too, in my mind, when I say I love you too, I am saying for all the good things that you make me feel, for all the things you do for me, I love you too. That's what I'm saying. And so if I have not arrived there, and you say I love you, and I say thank you, it does not mean I love you less at the point where I am. It does not mean I appreciate you less for loving me. But you see, the way we interpret it here is entirely different. So if I say I love you, you must say I love you too.
If not, you're not ready.
No, that means you don't love me.
You don't love me. You're not ready.
It has been the basis for a lot of relationships that are broken down. You don't love me.
And I think it's because a lot of persons do not even stay to learn. We just get up and we pick a lot of things. We just see a lot of things happening. And that's why we're also talking about technology. Because a lot of these things, you see it out there
in movies,
you see it out. You see it on reels. You see it on reels. You see a lot of things. We did with technology now. So you just want to. It's the same thing with people now. The way people want to propose now, with the way people go. It's because they've seen a lot of those proposals on social media. Mm-hmm. So they want theirs also. To be that flamboyant,
opinion, memorable,
memorable. Because and for most persons, that's an expression of love. That's an expression of the value. No, yes, you'll be shocked at the number of things that make no sense that people hold sacred. And when they build their lives and their relationship on these things that are faulty, it will definitely crack. It will definitely fall. And when it does, you said something of sitting back and asking yourself, okay, where did the thing go wrong? There are a series of things I've written down that I want to do on... I want to wear on a t-shirt, put it like a... one of them is that the relationship fail. What is your part in it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Love is wicked.
What's your part? Because people would have... You need to see them and like, okay, what's my role? What was my role in this thing failing?
In the entire issue, yes.
In the entire issue. What was my role? Because that's where lessons can be picked. That's where lessons can be picked. That's where we can pick the lessons that we can use to make ourselves better.
I agree.
So, and that's why we're talking, because most people just see all the things that they see on social media, all the things that they see on the different apps, and just
pick them up.
Just pick them up. So because it looks good. And in these days where everybody wants to trend, everybody wants to be the star.
The talk of the town.
The talk of the time. People just go and, I want blogs to carry it. I want, we've not even gone to that part.
I also think that self-esteem, however you look at it, plays a very vital role in how we thrive in relationships. If you have a very good foundation for self-esteem, which largely means that you're coming from a background where self-esteem is recognized, is appreciated, is expressed. When you find yourself on the internet, you're not looking for validation. You see stuff, but you are also confident enough to ignore certain things because you have a moral compass. But there are people who already have low self-esteem where they're coming from, and they come on social media looking for validation.
Oh,
And sometimes they feel that the ways to get attention is to be half-dressed, is to do something stupid on the internet. Just do anything absurd. That's the way you get attention. And then when people are, responding to it, they call it traffic. Recently, something happened on the social media space in Bielsa, and I tried to correct an impression. And when I made my post, it was just coincidental. When I made my post, somebody came under the post and said, "Thank you for clarifying." And then the person ended by saying, "One way or the other, this is good traffic for the person involved in the issue." And I said, "How is that good traffic?" Say she's trending. And I said, how is that a good trend?
How is that a good thing?
Do you even understand what trending means? Okay, if you think that it is a trend, what are you doing with the trend? So some of these things are born out of low self-esteem. Anything that would give me visibility is all right. And so people go out and do these things. Somebody comes from a background where they have been fed a narrative that love is wicked.
Yeah.
And so they blame love for anything and everything. And whenever I have the opportunity, I always say, love is a constant. Love doesn't know a person. Love is like money. Money doesn't have enemy. Money is money. Love is where it is. People can manipulate people with money. People can manipulate other people with love. At the end of the day, it was not love. Love is constant. Love is for everybody. What you choose to do with it is entirely your business. Somebody took advantage of you professing love is not the fault of love. It's the fault of the person.
And also the fault of you not being able to see through. Because I've seen that most times, it's your weakness.
Yes.
So, it's your weakness people will do. It's the same thing falling to scams, investment scams, and falling to most of these things. They pry on your weakness. They pry on
weakness and greed.
Your greed. So most times being manipulated is the fact that, okay, this person, like you've said, this person has low self-esteem.
You want validation, you want attention.
So I can use that thing that you want.
So if I give you attention, you get blind. You get blindsided from the big picture. And then you begin to go out of your way to do stuff. And true, we have, although recently a lot of men are coming out of the closet to express things that people ordinarily thought were just about women. Some men get abused in relationships. Some men suffer low self-esteem in relationships. And many don't talk about it. But of late, a lot of men have been coming out to talk about these things, which I think is a very good thing. Because for a long time, it has looked like it is a one-sex thing. And so even when that is not the case, people try to make it about gender. But now, men are also coming out to talk about it. And so it's a balanced issue for me. When you do not have self-esteem, you tend to fall prey to a lot of relationship vices. When you are confident of yourself as a person, when you see yourself as beautiful, when you see yourself as resourceful, you see yourself as enterprising, you see yourself as capable, when you see so much positivity in yourself, and you get into a relationship with someone who is not very expressive verbally, the person is a good person. He's not just an expressive person with words. You will not find yourself inadequate. You're not looking for a validation from how this person tells you that you're beautiful. If this person says you're beautiful, it is an addition to what you have already told yourself. That's why you even say thank you. So when I dress and go out and people say, "Man, you're handsome," I say, "I know." And then I say, "Thank you." And then they say, "You are too proud." I say, "I know. I know." You are not telling me something I do not know about myself. I know that I am proud. I know. Proud from a good place. A good place that I know what I know. And that I can hold my hand any day, anytime. and that I have the capacity to give value. That if it goes wrong, it will not be because I didn't do what I need to do. It will be because at some point it just stopped working.
Yeah.
I have that consciousness. And so whatever you tell me about myself is an addition. In some cases, a validation of what I already know. Now, a lot of women suffer these issues. And so because they do not know themselves enough to accept or admit to themselves who or what they are, they look for those validations from other people. Which is why somebody would pick a phone, connect with somebody who is somewhere else, and just by typing every day that you're beautiful, I miss you, you're not, this person packs her bag and travels 5 states. Because somebody impressed on her in a way that she has not impressed on herself, or gave her, I wouldn't want to use the word false, gave her a reality that she could not see for herself. And so she took on that reality. In some cases, you get to the destination of the man, he's not even all of what he was built digitally to be, but you're already hooked. And so you hear things like, he may not have money, but I like the way he treats me. It makes me feel special. The man knows that you are suffering from lack of attention.
Yeah.
And he may not be financially buoyant, but he's good at expressing himself. And so he makes you the center, makes you feel special. Now, that is not a bad thing in itself, if it is a balanced relationship.
But the thing is, like we are talking of that being manipulative. So he uses the weakness, now stops working on himself, stops providing, stops being responsible.
And make all of it your responsibility.
And makes all of it. So you go out of your way
to start doing things
the things for him
that he should do for himself.
Just to have that fix.
It's like a drug.
It's like a drug, just to have that fix that. So give me my fix. So the fix is you're beautiful. Oh, I've gotten one this morning. You fix that. This is your pointed nose.
So if you don't get it in a day, you're trouble. Maybe you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And then you call. Did I offend you? Say no. You've not sent me any message in the last 2 days. Should that... Okay. It's okay. You are observant. You notice. That's fine. But have you paused to think that maybe the man could be going through something and that something has affected how he communicates? But no, what you're after is that there is a fix you get every day. And that fix have not come in 2 days or 3 days. And so that is a concern for you. That is a worry. That's all you focus on. And technology, in a whole lot of sense,
provides that fix.
Yes, it does.
Provide that fix. So a lot of persons are out there.
A guy who is not poetic but understands that you like poetry now goes to AI and says, AI, write morning poem for me, for my girlfriend. AI does that. He sends it to the girlfriend. And the girlfriend is here rolling on the floor that her guy is very poetic. And then he says, AI, my wife is at work right now. She will be going for lunch by 1. I need you to give me a very good poem to make her day at lunch. But AI gives it to you, and then your wife becomes addicted to that thing. It becomes a system. Now, this is where the problem is. This man can only do that thing with his phone. So when you don't have the phone, when you're not with the phone, you are still expecting him to do the same thing. So when you people go out with friends and family, you're expecting him to be
You not put him on the spot. You not put him on the spot to do a poem.
You're not expecting him to be that caring and romantic, because from that one action, you have built several expectations. So if he's going to type me a poem and say, I want to carry you from the bed in the morning, in your head, you're expecting that he would actually carry you from the bed in the morning. But he's not doing that. So the man is a disconnect from whatever digital personality he has built that you are now hooked onto. So every day you expect to see that thing. The day you don't see it, it begins to affect how you communicate.
Okay, so on the flip side, what you've just said is the fact that with the, like we said, technology, it's a do in the now, it's a do in the future. So for guys, so I'm saying this for guys, that you will not do that excuse that I'm not the romantic type. I'm not, no, guy. There are tools. There are, thanks to AI, thanks to, there are a lot of things you can do and spice up your romantic life. You can brush up your romantic game.
I feel that everybody's romantic. It all depends on what the supposed love language is.
Yeah.
If you are, so for some people, providing for you is how they come off as being romantic. For some people, they are proactive about your needs. Some people, they call you 4 or 5 times a day. They just ask all the caring questions. Some people, they are romantic only in the bedroom. Once they're out of the bedroom, they are back to their strict nature, business nature, and all of that. So, again, it brings us back to understanding your partner. If your partner is not the one that is very expressive verbally, and because you're watching Asian movies, Spanish movies, Indian movies, where people profess love, Korean movies where people profess love on a second to second basis, you now, for some reason, begin to transport that feeling or expectation to a man who is expressive in other ways other than verbally, which you never had any problems with, until suddenly your friend's partner is verbally expressive. And you do not know other things that your friend's partner sucks at.
Yeah.
But you take only that part and you go to query a man who does everything right.
In the other parts.
In the other part, to say he's not expressive. I saw a skit on Instagram. A lady was saying the husband was not romantic. And the husband said, "Have you ever gone hungry in this house?" She said, "No." "Is there anything you need that I don't provide?" She said, "No." "The new latest phone you're using now, did you ask me before I bought it?" She said, "No." And then he mentioned a lot of things. She said, "No." He said, "So which part of all of this that does not mean I am romantic? So what is your definition of romantic?"
You've not, maybe they've not done.
And then that definition was something very, very, in my opinion, out of place, that somebody else was doing. Her friend was doing with her partner and was telling her about it. But she have not really sat down to appreciate all the things that her partner was doing and didn't think those things as romantic gestures. So there is no one universal action for romantic gesture. It depends on the persons involved, and the relationship type.
Okay. So as part of the conversation, we're looking at how even people that we've talked about understanding yourself, taking time, the patience, but we're looking at 2 persons that don't know themselves, which we've brushed, but 2 persons that don't know themselves. And we've said they need to be patient to know themselves. Now, some persons seem to not being able to find love in their space. And I think in filling that gap, some persons have been able to maybe do dating apps. And what's your take on dating apps and their effectiveness in building romantic relationship?
That has worked for some people, but I would say it has worked for less people. Because some people that it supposedly have worked for, it meant that they had to consciously ignore certain things for certain things to work, for it to look like it was working. For example, a lady says on her dating app profile, she describes herself, and then the app would give you provision to describe the kind of people you want to meet. So she says a man that is 6 feet tall, a man that is, 6-pack, he has this, he has that, and all of that. And so the system would now, do its shuffling and then try to matchmate people. Yeah. There are people who may not be 6 feet tall, but have also written 6 feet tall, just so that they
in their profile, so that they can get into certain league.
To certain league, and then they begin to chat. The man would have put all his best qualities forward. And when you begin to chat, he comes off as smart. He wrote smart there. Hardworking, so he expresses all of that. And you are looking for a man who also falls in that category. And then so you hit it off from there. the communication digitally looks fluid, everything is working, and then you agree to meet physically. And then when you meet physically and you begin to come up with conversations, you talk about something in, say, politics, something in the arts, something in science, something in tech, and then you discover that the man is not so versatile as his online personality suggested.
Yeah.
The man probably is also, what's the word now? He's also one of those very traditional men with a lot of ego. And so you are not supposed to eat before him. You should not drink before him. You should not order more than this or that. What you're ordering should not be more than what he has ordered. There are very traditional people like that. And then you discover that those things were not captured on his bio. They were not captured there. But meeting him physically, you have realized that he's what he is, what he may have put on his digital profile, and much more. Now, at that point, the lady needs to make a decision. Am I okay with the much more? Or I want to learn about the much more before I make a decision. Now, let's say in all of this, the man came in a very good ride, dressed very well. And so you're saying to yourself, will I, because of this small thing now, ignore these other things I'm seeing? No, let me ignore this one. We can adjust this one. Let me take on this one. And so she agrees to go into the relationship. That is what I meant by saying she has to intentionally ignore, tune out certain things to go into it.
To make it work.
Sometimes halfway through the relationship, it gets to a point where she realizes, I can no longer tolerate this thing. It's not something I can cope with. But you could have made that decision at the first date, maybe the second or third date, but you wanted to see. I do not believe that anybody has the capacity to change anybody. I do not have that. I don't believe. Changing begins with the man that wants to change.
Yeah.
So there has to be an intentionality that I am open to change. And then I begin to adopt some of the things you're sharing with me. If not, you can't change anybody.
Nobody.
So when you go into a relationship with a man that is flawed, you go into a relationship with a woman that is cracked, obviously, from the way she converses, the way she defends the feminism thing, the way she, you can tell that she's cracked somewhere.
Yeah.
You can tell that something is wrong. You
with
can
him.
tell that myself and this woman, if we go into a relationship and we begin to argue, this is how our argument will be. You already know, but you told yourself that when we are involved, I will change her.
Oh, he doesn't know me. Let me just
when
marry
we
him.
start now, I will change her. You can't change nobody who does not want to be changed.
Yeah.
First of all, there's an institutional knowledge. There is a background. Until that person wants to do an intentional mind shift, you'll be changing yourself. Before you know it, you're the one that have changed. From somebody who does not nag, you are now nagging. Yeah. For somebody who knows how to hold the conversation,
not even stay out.
You are now giving up on conversations. You say, okay, you're right. Because you don't want to argue. It's okay, you're right. And then you be, like you said, you begin to keep late nights, which is not your thing. Now you spend more time on your phone because you don't want to argue. You maybe begin to play games that ordinarily you don't play. You begin to look for new distractions. You're the one that is changing.
Yeah.
But your intent was to change somebody else. But this other person is okay. In fact, in that person's book, everything is working all right.
Because you're changing to fit.
You're changing to fit.
Yeah.
So now they can remote you where they want you to go and how they want you to do whatever they want you to do. So it is working. So changing anybody is a fallacy in my book. My opinion is that the person who wants to change has to first show the interest and the desire to change. Especially if you're coming from a background that maybe love was scarce.
Yeah.
Coming from a background where self-esteem is a destination. It's not something that is close by. And then you now find yourself in a relationship with someone who had so much love and has a lot of it to give. You meet someone who is so very full of himself in a good way. And because he's full of himself in a good way, he tries to make you see how positive you are. He tries to make you see all the good things about you.
All the possibilities you can become.
You can become, and you are struggling with it. But in your struggle, you're saying, I like to be all these things you're telling me, but I don't see it. So the question is, do you want to see it? Yes. Now there is a relationship. We both want to now work on on your person. Now, because this man has so much love to give, love comes with patience. So he's patient enough to go this journey with you,
Allow the
to
process,
teach you,
yeah.
to show you. And so in how he loves you, you now begin to learn how to love differently. And again, the love is relative.
Yeah.
You can shout your love. She does not shout her love, does not mean she doesn't love you. I don't know how to buy gifts. And my problem is not in the buying it. It is the fear that I will buy something that will not last. In my head, gift should be a lasting thing, especially jewelries. I don't know the difference between gold and no gold. You can cheat me every day of the week and I will not know it. And because I don't know how to buy this thing, what I do is if I see a picture of something I like, I snap it and I say, do you like this thing? He says, yes. I said, they say it's so amount to, I don't know if it's original. You like it? I send you the money, go and buy it. I want to see you use it. And I'm okay. But I've also come to understand that women feel differently when you give them the money to buy it and when you buy it. It reads differently in their head. And so thank God I have a younger sister who is into jewelries. And I say, blessing, this one is the original. I want the best too. Yes. Okay. How much? She tells me, I give her the money. I take it. And I feel like, okay, I've done something. And then I also don't know how to do all this surprise. No. I just take the box, put it by your side of the bed, and I go to my side of the bed. Anytime you see it, you have seen it. And you say, wow, you bought me something? Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm also not expecting you to jump the roof. Some people say you are not excited enough.
Yes.
Were you looking for excitement? See, everything you buy for your partner is an expression of how you feel. How they will react to it is not your business.
No, but that's because there are some persons that we're talking of this thing. We'll go back to that fixed thing. Mm-hmm. Some persons, it's the reaction. The reaction to the gift is the fix. So if they don't react
that way,
the person comes off as being unappreciative. The person comes off as not being grateful. The person comes off because for some persons,
the people with this fix even set a party to surprise themselves.
Yes, to surprise themselves. So some people will even set a surprise party to surprise themselves on their birthday, and they now act surprised
for something they prepared. Oh wow! Okay. Now, I've also had a conversation, not directly and indirectly, but I've had a conversation with someone who said, I am a giver. I can't be in a relationship with someone who does not give. I didn't want to stretch it. No, but it crossed my mind now, and the question I'm asking myself is, when you say you're a giver, is it in material things?
Yeah. No.
Is it in money? Is it in other things? Because sometimes we are so fixated with one part of what we consider giving and do not realize that this person is also giving us in other ways.
Yeah.
For example, say you're involved with someone who drives. You do not. He comes to pick you every morning and drop you at work. You are a gift person. And so every now and then you buy him stuff. Maybe you buy him perfume, you buy him singlets, you buy him, whatever you like.
The usual.
Yes, so you buy him stuff as you can afford. He comes to pick you to work in the morning and goes to pick you from work back home. Occasionally, you all go out to do lunch and all of that. But you see, all of these things he's doing do not count because he has not bought you something wrapped in a box. So again, all of this has to do with self-esteem, knowledge of your partner,
and the things, the definition of things for yourself, the way you've defined
things.
The definitions from other people's worldview that you have imbibed, things that
there are things my wife will never buy for me. If she buys it, I will know that it was not her decision. I can even guess 1 to 5 people that were involved in the decision of that thing. Number 1, gadgets. I have a very high gadget taste. My wife will not go there. 2, my wife says, there are certain ways what you wear fits. I can't guess and go and buy those things.
Yeah.
I might miss it. My wife made me a sandal on one of my birthdays, and somebody made it one of the Western states, all the way, sandal and a shoe. And eventually when it got here, the sandal was slightly undersized, slightly. The shoe was my size in a way, very tight. But for me, it was the effort.
Yeah.
The effort. I wore the shoes, but I don't wear it regularly. The sandals, I wear it for a while, but I'm generally also not I don't dress regularly in a way that I have to wear sandals. So I wear it once in a while. The shoes, I wear it with natives because it works with natives. But again, the gift was the least of my concern.
It was the effort.
My concern was
the effort.
What prompted the thoughts? My wife has earpods. I think she has maybe 2 or 3. But I traveled. I forgot my earpiece and traveled. And I went to a supermarket to look for something I can use temporarily until I get back. I ended up buying my wife an earpod and did not buy the thing I went to buy for myself. I just got there, and for some reason, my wife is also a gadget person. I got there and I told myself, wow, this thing would look nice. Wife, she doesn't like moving around with her phone. So sometimes I call and I have missed calls. So I'm saying to myself, if I get her an earpod that she likes, she probably will use it more. Which means even within the house, she does not need to move around with the phone. And then if I call, she would pick the call. So this is me thinking for myself. Yeah. Something that will benefit me, but most importantly, for someone that I care about. To make life easy for someone I care about. So I bought it without consulting her. And then I got back. So we're talking on my way back, and I said, I got you a new earpiece. Oh, wow, thank you. See, women like surprises. My wife is the opposite. Don't surprise her. She might pass out. Don't do that. So I just called. I said, I got you at oh, thank you. And then when I got back, I put it by her bedside. She saw it, thank you. And again, I am not, I'm not lacking love, like I said, self-love. I'm not lacking it. So I'm not very, when you tell me thank you, I become uncomfortable. I'm not a mushy person. When I do somebody a favor or I do somebody charity, I'm not doing it because you asked and that. I'm doing it because I also have the capacity to do it. I can afford to do it. And so I do it and I am at peace with myself. I have moved on. When you tell me thank you once, please leave it at that once. If you keep telling me thank you, I become uncomfortable.
You're like,
so my wife would even send me thank you via WhatsApp. I am okay. The thank you on WhatsApp, it works for me. You don't need to now come and kneel down or hug me specially
that's
or
you.
kiss me. No. You're making me uncomfortable. I don't need all those things.
You don't want to worship.
So
you have to worship.
We know our personalities.
Yeah.
How you say the thank you doesn't really matter. That's for us.
Yeah.
Because we understand ourselves. I'm not doing it to look for a validation. No. I'm looking for things that makes your life easy, because when your life is easy, mine is easy. So I go out of my way to do anything I think needs to be done to make your life easy. You on your own, you go out of your way to look for things that make my own life easy. There are things I never buy for myself that my wife buys traditionally. She have made it a duty. And because I know that she does it, I've also absent-mindedly delegated that to her. I don't bother. I don't know much about perfumes. I smell it. It smells nice. I use it. I don't know which one has more alcohol, which one stays 24. I don't know all those things. So sometimes when I find myself in the supermarket and I just maybe walk past that section, I'll call. I'm in the supermarket. I'm seeing some perfumes here. I don't know which is which. You say, okay, do a video call. I do a video call. I show her and she calls the names of the. She's okay, no, take that one. That one is nice. I take that one. And then I take it. You don't know this one. I bought it for you before now. I cannot remember. I take that one and then I come home. We use the same set of perfumes. We use the same everything. So it's not my issue. Because there is this interwoven understanding.
Yeah.
Some of these things do not really matter. They shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
But if they do, most of the time, if you check, there is a fundamental crack.
Yes. And for me, it's in all of this, like, so as we're wrapping this, bringing the conversation to a close, one of the things, or the take home for me from the conversation is the recognizing your role in building the relationship you want.
Sure, yes.
The
It has to be
recognizing
intentional.
your role that it
Both
is
persons
intentional,
have to build it.
and both persons have to be intentional. Then the place of giving it time, patience, because like we're talking about technology. So it could happen fast because of technology.
Mm-hmm.
So it could, the meeting could be fast. The whole getting to know could be fast. Getting to meet could be fast.
Mm-hmm.
But getting to know yourself will take time.
Should take time.
Should take time. So, and that's where most times people remember, because they feel that all of the things they talk and then to meet is already the knowing themselves.
Use the right word. They are dating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. We are dating.
We dated.
We dated.
And then that was only in your book.
Yeah.
In the guy's book, you people did not even start
Even
anything.
in the lady's book, she don't even know where.
So
you
they
know
just
how
use these words.
Yeah, you know how you have gotten into a relationship with the person. The person is wondering, how are we even in a relationship?
So most times these words are just thrown around. Dating is a process.
Yes.
That allows you to evaluate a person over lunch, over dinner, over social meetings. It allows
Different
you
scenarios.
to sample this person over different scenarios over a period of time to decide if this person is someone you want to go into a relationship with.
For a long term.
For a long term. Or whether short term or mid term. The point where romantic gestures in the form of kisses, hugs, and all of that comes in, you are gradually validating that this person is suitable to go into a relationship with.
Now if that's what you have just said now, which is like old school, because it looks like now it just looks like
it is
as they are chatting,
and then we meet
the next time they are meeting
where we are taking ice cream or shawarma.
The hugs is now
that
like,
place now that we met now, so we have started dating.
Yeah.
So the dating is that we are in a relationship.
Yeah.
So those words are thrown around in the wrong way.
Yeah.
In some cultures, dating has specific time frame.
Yes. Yeah.
In some cultures. But given what we are saying now, given the reality as we know it, a lot of people are broken, a lot of people are cracked, a lot of people are damaged, and they have not given themselves enough time to heal before moving into another relationship, or even moving into a relationship. They are a risk to themselves, and should not even be dating anybody. But because many of them also do not know or have suppressed those feelings long enough that they are in the base, the way you can easily save yourself or help yourself is to deliberately date. Sample this person in different scenarios, different atmospheres, to see how this person ticks. How does this person react towards culture? How does this person react towards tradition? How does this person react over authority? How does this person feel about this or that? For example, you could just be on a date with someone and then you just jokingly say, can you marry a man that you're earning more than? And you see some women they just glow with, for what now? Me, Kai, for what now? And then you don't even know what you're doing. As you begin to do that expression, the man already is drawing down on possibilities that can happen in his life. The woman's money is the woman's money. The man's money is our money.
Yeah.
So those are also nomenclatures that we need to change. There are things that happen in my house that I do not know how they happen, and I will never know. Why? Because I respect the responsibilities as they are. For example, I'm not interested in a breakdown of what and what you want to put in the kitchen. It's not my business. My business is that we need to restock the house.
Yeah.
We need X amount to restock the house. If I do not have X amount, I would ask you, can Y amount work? I don't have X amount right now. You say yes. I give you Y. That does not mean that Y becomes a standard. No. I know that X is our standard. So I would, if I can make for the shortfall even before the next time, I should be disciplined enough to do it. It's a responsibility, so you should be disciplined. Even when you provide the X, if you're very observant that you walk into the kitchen, you should be able to tell if it is X that you are seeing. Because in my case,
some variants
my case, most of the time, I see more than X.
X is raised to some power.
So the thing is, you need to allow for that room deliberately to know each other. Sometimes I've seen in scenarios where getting to know each other starts, everything seems to be a sloppy ride, everything's just happening, and then the man slows it down. The moment the man slows it down, the character of the woman, the real character, pops up. Suddenly you see that she does not have time to wait. I don't have time to wait. Any man that is not serious. How can you tell seriousness in 3 months? How can you tell seriousness in 2 weeks?
And most times I've seen where so they say if the person is not serious, I don't have time to wait. If it's not serious, it's not. So now talking of even when we're taking it back to that manipulative thing, so he sees that being whatever you call serious,
it's him checking up on you every time
so,
and all of that.
Some it's even the engagement or whatever. So they give you an engagement ring,
and then you hold it for so long.
Yeah, I hold it for.
There is another funny scenario. A man is with a lady. The lady says he's not serious.
Yeah.
She leaves the man and goes into another relationship that stays longer than the one she was in with this man for whatever reason that she thought this other one was going to be. Yeah. But because this person understands the weakness or the fix, he keeps giving the fix in a way that she keeps hoping that is the guy, and they have stayed longer than necessary. And then this other man that she left
has now moved on. He's even settled.
Married.
He's
settled.
Married,
he maybe has kids and all that. And
he
somehow she begins to find her way back to this guy. Or maybe she just, stays somewhere in between. And so I feel that on both ends, the women, the men, don't be in a hurry. Communication is key. The more you make the man talk, his personality will pop. The same for the women. The more the man makes the woman talk, you see, you can't almost always be in character.
Yeah.
The real you will pop up at some point. So the more you engage, communication, the more you engage. So now we are saying communication both on and off technology.
Yeah.
But I am saying don't base it all on technology. Because technology does not have emotions.
Yeah, so technology could create
fast track
the meeting.
Yeah.
But the making and the building
should be intentional. Possibly the bulk of it should be off technology. Because the more you engage, the emotions will pop. You begin to understand the things this person has interest in, the things he or she does not have interest in. I would use the word fortunate. I'm fortunate that majority of the things I like turns out to be majority of the things my wife likes. We like the same kind of movies. We listen to the same kind of songs. And so there is no issue of, okay, let me watch my film now before he comes. No, the channel stays on the channel that we both like. She can easily recommend a movie to me and I will just go and watch it because we like the same thing. So there is that compatibility. It's not going to be 100%.
Yeah.
But once there is a reasonable amount of compatibility you see,
and
then you know that, okay, we can build, we can tolerate, we can compromise on the remaining things. But what your 80% is subject to who you are.
Yeah.
So we all have different things. I'm not a hands-on guy when it comes to laundry and all those things. I am not. And so in my 80%, I'm looking for somebody who does not suck at laundry like me, because our house will be very dirty. And now I have someone who, if not for, in some cases, would not even use washing machine, would want to do everything by hand. I'm like, okay, there's washing machine, I know, but I want to do, it's okay. So that balances for me. But then there are also things that she's not very good at. I am very good at. So we balance each other. The whole essence of a relationship is balancing each other's weakness while growing together.
Yeah.
Improving on each other, reducing the weaknesses together, and then
amplifying strengths.
Yes, so when you go in, it's no longer about you. It's about the both of you. So look at the things you both share in common, hold those ones as your foundation, and then begin to look at the things that both of you don't do very well and intentionally begin to reduce them so that you can build more strength. All of that starts with proper and intentional communication. If you don't do that, you will just keep thinking you know each other until something happens one day, and then you realize you do not know each other. Finally, I would say there is this post I saw on social media. A lady was engaged. She was engaged, due to be married. I think the man had gone to do the introduction and all that. And then somebody threw one of these questions like we're asking. And she glowed. She embraced it and she was expressing herself. And as soon as she was done, the man went and canceled the wedding. Because in that event, he saw what his future could look like.
And now that's even the danger of them not, like we're saying, of them not having this conversation
early enough. Everybody just wants to be married.
Everybody just wants to be married.
They do not really know what the marriage would be. They just want to be married. And then after the marriage, you realize
this is not something
Some people have asked me, and they've also asked my wife, so what does it feel like to be married? And coincidentally, our answers were almost the same. Was something supposed to be different? Because we were intentional about getting into this thing. The only difference is that we now live and wake up in the same house.
And do some things together.
Almost everything we were doing before,
are amplified.
We still do it the way we say. So it's nothing really changed for us. It's just that we now sleep and wake up in the same house. So there was an intentional build-up. We started taking decisions together. We started consulting each other's opinion even before we got married. And so there is that understanding. And then moving into the marriage, we didn't suddenly decide that, okay, I'm up here, you are here. If we must do anything, you must tell me. No. My wife likes details.
Yeah.
She likes to break things down to me. And I tell her, my head, I don't have space for the details you're trying to give me. I don't need it. My job is to go and make money. So that when you tell me what you want to do, I just give it to you. You don't need to break it down. If you tell me you need X, you are thinking that X is a lot of money, so you need to justify it by explaining. No. All through the relationship before the marriage phase, I have seen your prudence. I have seen how you manage. I already know that you know how to manage. So you will not start now to not know how to manage. So when you tell me you need X, I know that within the X, you have mapped out how you manage it. I don't want the details. I trust you enough to give it to you to do what you want to do. Don't bore me with plenty detail. I don't want it. But you see, that is somebody who wants to be accountable.
Yeah.
Who is willing to show you lists.
Yeah.
Upon this one that I'm saying, it doesn't change anything. No. They still send me lists though. I just don't read it. They still send me the list, but I don't read it. Yeah. I don't care. I don't want to know. Mine is, I know that, you have been doing it. I know that you will keep doing it. Wherever I can, I would support. If I don't have it, I will say, I don't have it. Can we adjust for this month? Can we adjust for this period? Is there something we need to do differently? You're the one that is telling me, prices of things in the market have gone up. I say, okay, it's all right. So I already know that if you needed X before, you will not be needing X again. You will need Y. Yeah. So in my head, I have created room for Y. So when you come and you give me the costs, I'm not going to query it, not because I cannot talk, but because I know that you have done due diligence.
So I would just say, I know we're wrapping this, but I would like to bring this, or which we've said earlier, to add to an earlier post, earlier thing you said, where someone now will see this thing that you've just said of not wanting the details.
And will see differently.
No, of not wanting the details, and will go and meet and is with her partner and says, now, Mr. Harry does not require detail. Forgetting that the baseline was that this other person that they are not requiring details from had shown over time that I can be trusted. I have managed the thing. So based on the antecedents,
yes,
I can now not bother about the details now.
Even when the person has shown antecedents of trustworthiness, it is still dependent on the partner.
Yes.
If the partner is someone who likes to micromanage or not. I do not like to micromanage. I don't want to know everything you are doing. I trust that you will do what you need to do. You will tell me only the part that I need to know. So at the end, it's still a person-to-person application. I used to have a neighbor growing up in Port Harcourt. He was one of those bachelors that do not need a wife unless that it is necessary to have a wife. The man can do everything by himself. And then when he got married, he was following the wife, accompanying the wife to the market. If she buys something, he will say, no, they've cheated you on this one. No, go take it back. No, this thing is not this amount. It's supposed to be this amount. He kept doing that. And then one day my grandmother called him and said, look, if you continue like this, you will have a depressed wife. Your marriage will not work. You need to blind yourself to certain things. That space is her space. Allow her thrive in that space. So some men are also very extreme. And it's a result of where they are coming from. Some men like details. It's a result of where they are coming from. Some men like to be pampered in a very special way. My own pampering it's not more than boss pimple on my face. You do that and I'm pampered already. And before you finish bossing too, I'm asleep. I'm okay. So again, all of this depends on where you're coming from.
Yeah.
What is your constitution as a person? Your makeup as a person would determine whether all of these things would be necessary or not. If there are things you can self-generate for yourself, you wouldn't be needing a validation from other people. But again, we are all not equal. So there would always be a balance. If you're involved with someone who needs a lot of affirmation to feel okay, and you have decided that you want to be involved with that person, you would give it.
Yeah.
You would not start giving it and then stop giving it at some point. No. You are the one causing the problem. You agreed to do it, so you will do it. If the other person knows that my partner is someone who likes me to report in details, don't get to one point and stop reporting in details. No. You started it, so you will keep up with it. If for any reason you cannot report in details again, it has to be
something that
a conversation that both of you would agree on, and then find a new way to do what both of you do.
And all of this, like we said, happens outside technology.
Technology, yes. You can't use technology to be solving this.
All of this happens outside. So technology is good. In bringing this up and wrapping up technology, because I know there's so much. I started in the opening, I said it seems like we're always talking. So there are a lot of pictures, and a lot of things. So if we want to, we can do this till next tomorrow, and we'll
always have something to talk about.
Not run out of it. So, but the point we're making is that technology has come to stay. It's a do in every area, but in building thriving relationships, technology can aid the meeting. Technology can aid. It's an enabler.
Yes.
Technology is an enabler. It's just what it is there. It's an enabler. You would have to be intentional about what you want to build and use technology to build it. But technology will not be the all and all if you want to build a lasting, a thriving, and a healthy relationship. I know there are a lot of takes here. We would like to hear from you, and we'll continue the conversation either in the comment section, but we would love you to be a part of this. So hit us up and let's take it up from there. This has been VitalSpace Podcast. Thank you very much.